Hello, welcome to Another Beginner's Guide to Photoshop. My name is Manuel from Kata Studios. Today we are going to learn how to remove images from backgrounds. Okay, so we are going to have an A/B test, testing all images that we removed from the background on a white background and also on a black background. So let's head up to creating a black background immediately. So to do that, you can click on the plus button at the bottom part of the right corner in your Photoshop. Click on that, automatically another layer is added. When another layer is added, you can move it up or move it down by dragging around, okay, like so. You can lock a layer by clicking on the Control and the slash in your keyboard, okay. Control slash locks it. You'll be seeing the shortcut right in front of you, okay. So Control slash again unlocks it, Control slash unlocks, Control slash locks. So fine. So now we have that image in the background. What we need to do now is to paint this image black. So to do that, we can head over to this part and select on the paint bucket tool. We can find the paint bucket tool from here. So what we do is right click on here, not selecting, right click on this particular 3-dot line. This is practically where you find all other tools that are not available in the tool panel, okay. So right click on this part and you can scroll down. You're going to find the paint bucket tool and you can now select it and it will replace that space. So fine, next thing we need to do is to select a particular color we want to paint the background with. Let's assume that we remove all of this and we have the background. It is here but it's transparent, so we can fill it with any color we want. Let's say tan, or we fill it with a black background. So to select a color, head over here, click on this element and you pick any color of your choice. You can practically pick color from outside of the color palette. So we select on black and we click on OK. We can now paint the color. When you select, then hit on the color since you have the paint bucket tool. So now we have that. If we select another element, we are going to find out the icon in my mouse changes. And we select the paint bucket tool, automatically the icon changes to the paint bucket tool, which we use in painting this black. So now we have black and we have white. We'll be testing out this on black and on white. So let's delete this and start afresh. Let's delete the one we did before now and we are going to place back this image. Now, let's just start afresh. There are two ways to place an image on an artboard. One of which is head over to Edit, scroll down till you find, okay, some people will do it files. They click on Open File. If you do this, it's going to open in another layer, just as we have different layers from here. Okay, another totally different artboard. Okay, we want to work on this artboard and want to place our image here. So what we do, click on File, scroll down till you find Place Linked, then select the folder you want to work with. We want to work with this folder, or we want to work with this image. We select it, automatically places that image there. It doesn't place this practically. This is on the layer, but it's not placed now. Two things to place your image is zoom out of the image so you can have more space here. Look at my mouse and what happens. My mouse is still on the image. We can rotate the image now or do some other thing. But if you want to place this image, you can either hit on Enter on a keyboard or zoom out until you find that the mouse on its own is separated, or the icon of the mouse is actually changed, by the way. So you can click on that part, click on this part, and automatically that is placed. If you don't click on that part, it is not placed. Okay, so until it is placed, you cannot start editing that particular image or element. Now it is placed, we can head over to this part, select on it, or select on this other image. When we select on an element, automatically you see these lines around it. If you can't find this line around it, make sure you enable the Show Transform card. When the Show Transform card is not enabled, you can't see the line even if you select the element. So make sure this is enabled if you are using the older version of Photoshop, like 2022. But if you use 2023, this changes to a box, a kind of box of multiple arrows inside. If you can see that in latest version 2023. So now we select on the image. Next thing we need to do to remove this image from the background is to click on Select and scroll down till we find Subjects. Okay. In Subject, we can just click on that and allow it process the image. Just gonna separate the image from the background. This is just one click and we are done. That is practically it. Okay, so but that's not all, because you are not just done with the image. If you move it around, you see it moves to the background. So what we need to do here is to click on Ctrl and J. Ctrl J simply separates the image which we just cropped out from the background itself. And to note that we are going to hide this particular image. By clicking on Hide, we can now show the images at the top. Now we're going to do an A/B test. This is on a black background. Originally, this image was on a black background, so we can actually detect the issue if it actually have one. So to test this properly, we have to test it on a different or an opposite background, which is white. So we're going to unhide the black, which is the first A/B test, and we zoom close to see if we have some issues. So I think this did a very wonderful work, and this is a very nice work on a black background, on a white background. So we are good to go with this, and that is how to do it for animate images. So the next one, I'm going to show you how to import an image without the first format. So to import an image, the second stage, we can minimize our Photoshop and go to the image folder, then we drag in the image we want. This is the second way to import an image to a folder. So again, hit on enter, then we click on subject, and we click on select actually, and we click on subject, and we allow it to take its course. Let's see what it's going to do with this background, the flares around the lady's hair and all of that. Let's see how it's going to take care of that. As you can see from here, it didn't take care of this part. It's actually didn't decode this part of the lady's hair as part of her hair because it blends more with the background. So in our next course, I'll be about image removal from background. I'll be teaching you guys how to fix these errors, how to correct this, and how to treat issues like this. So again, we click on Ctrl J and we can hide this and we see what we have from here. At least it did a very fair work from here. So let's do an A/B test and test this on a black background too and see what we have. I think this is wonderful, okay? This did a very nice work from here. And that's our test number 2. Our test number 3, we are going to try this on products, okay? So we place in our product here and we hit on enter, we click on select and we click on subjects. So fine, it separated those edges. So let's click on Ctrl J to separate it from the background itself, and let's zoom closely to see if we have a problem. Actually, we have a big problem from here, fellas. So in our next course, we are going to learn how to actually correct those issues. As you can see from this edge, it is so weird that I can't even understand what's going on there. And I don't even know the reason why, but I think it's possibly because of, as you can see, the image doesn't have a very high quality, so it's misunderstanding some part of it to be the background. So whenever you're using images, make sure your images are of very good quality. If you have very good quality images, you're not going to face most of the issues which we are facing here. We're going to try this out with an inanimate object. Okay? So try with this flower and we hit on enter, click on select and subject. Let's see what happens. Fine. So we separate it from the background and we hide the background. Wonderful work. So you see what happens here? It have some black shadows from this edge, black shadows, and that's not the problem because that particular edge is actually curved, so that's not a problem at all. And I love how it actually separates the white droplets of water from the background itself. Finally, we are going to try this out with a more complex image which have some kind of background complexity. As you can see from here, number one is that the image have a very poor quality. That's number one issue we are going to be facing here. So why I use these different solutions is because I want you to understand exactly what is going on in case you are doing yours, so you don't say, this is how I did it here, why is it not working on mine? This is practically the problems you're going to be facing when you're separating images in one click, okay? Because if you're using a poor images, this is what is going to happen. Just watch very closely. Select and we click on subject and we're going to see what's going to happen to that. So poor quality images, it's difficult for it to detect that this is actually a stem, this is actually a stem, and this is actually a stem. So let's separate it and see what happens. So you see, it lost those edges, it lost those stems, and it misunderstood them to be part of the background actually. And actually, it didn't even pick up on this particular image from here, though that's blurred. It's not supposed to pick on that. It's supposed to pick only on focused elements, but not picking on these stems is a big problem for us, okay? And that's because we didn't use a high resolution quality images, okay? So next, you make sure you use a very good quality image. I'm going to show you what that is going to look like, possibly in our next course. I'm going to show you how to pick up on high quality. I'm not connected to my internet right now, so that would be a complex thing to do from this course. So now we are separated from that, but that's not the only problem we have, fellas. Another problem I noticed we have here is that the edges of the flowers are kind of having some kind of black stuffs or black spots around it. We are still going to learn how to fix this in case you are forced to use a poor quality image. But if you use a good image quality, you are not going to face such issues. See why we are having the issues? You see these edges are so geotagged. The edges are not properly segmented. It's having a very poor pixel from these edges, and we don't expect much from it, just as we don't expect much from ourselves. So we separate that and we see what we have, and that's practically how to separate images from background. So we have this, and we have this, and we have this. This did a nice and wonderful work because we have a very good quality image. If we had a poor quality image in this, you are going to see that we are going to have issues in the parts, some parts of the hairs and all of that, okay? But for what we have, it did a very wonderful work. Just that I noticed that it cut out some part of the beard. This Ebabin AI. So that's practically it, guys, for today. Once again, my name is Manuel from Kata Studios, and this is simply how to separate images from background in one click. Do have a wonderful day.